Hello, Shutter Squad, and welcome back to The One Behind the Lens. Today's episode, it's a really good one for anyone who works in or alongside the creative industry because we're talking about what it actually takes to bring big ideas to life when budgets are tight, timelines are tight, and the pressure is very real. I'm sitting down with a very good friend, Patrick J. Clayton. He is the founder of PJC Productions in New York City. And this is an event planning business who really makes big experiences. He specializes in branded experiences, pop ups, and product launches for PR agencies and brands across the country. This conversation pulls back the curtain on the event industry in a way I don't think we hear often enough. We talk about rising costs, tariffs, supply challenges, and the very real disconnect creatives are navigating right now, where expectations keep growing, but budgets don't always follow. Patrick will also walk us through what the creative process really looks like, how visions meet logistics, how designs are engineered to fit elevators and 1 hour setup windows, and why systems matter just as much as creativity. And yes, there's a near disaster story that turns into one that's a best lesson of the entire episode. If you've ever had to problem solve under pressure, balance creativity with reality, or build something beautiful within very real constraints, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Patrick, thank you so much for being on The One Behind the Lens.
I'm so excited. I was telling my team last week, I was like, I went to college with Kate. Kate took my first ever professional headshots, which I still love.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, you were in New York and it was they were all asking questions about this. So it was really fun to have a couple minute chat, tour down memory lane for them.
Oh, I love it. Well, and I love, just talking about, we'll kind of just go into how we know each other and why I was like, you would be perfect to be on the show, because I know some people might be like, why is she having like an event planner on a photography? But I feel like those things go side by side.
Overlap a lot, I think.
Yeah. So Patrick and I know each other from Nebraska, and we went to Doane. It was Doane College back then. It's
Doane College
University now.
I still call it Doane College, and they can fight me.
Yeah. I do too. It's weird to say like
Doane University. I'm like, you could walk from one side of the other in like 6 minutes. It can't be a university. No.
I know.
Good for them for expanding. Good, yes. All the flowers to them. But yeah.
Yes.
It's Doane College to me.
Same. Yeah. And we were together like doing theater. We were doing choir. So we were friends. It wasn't like we were
one thing I love about that, and I think you knew this at one point, but you might not know now. So I went in for like summer registration or orientation or whatever you do before you start classes.
Yes.
And they're like, here's, and I was a business major. And I just happened, I was a business major, but I got a choral scholarship. So I was in the music building. But so they were like, here's your advisor, Eric Selk. And I was like, oh, cool. Eric Selk is my advisor.
Right.
And then we realized, and he was obviously amazing, we realized they made a mistake. I wasn't supposed to have a theater advisor. I was supposed to have a business advisor, but they let me keep him. And so I think, obviously, I would have been involved in theater also, but it was such a fun. I know you're still such good friends with him, as am I, that like my college advisor, who wasn't supposed to be my advisor, has ended up being a friend. And the reason I was in that building so much, because music and theater shared a building. And so we did spend a lot of time together, like a lot of time together.
A lot, yeah. Like, I feel like if you're not like a choir theater person, you don't realize how much you in college.
Probably 15 to 20 hours a week just of rehearsals, then whatever else we
Yes.
did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then they're your best friends. And so
Right.
we're doing things
The social
outside.
circles and yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think, when you were saying that, I do kind of remember that. And I feel like, he was supposed to be your advisor. Like it was just supposed to be, it was meant to
it was
be.
meant to be. Yeah. And I love
Yeah.
it. And I love because he was like, oh, like you're not taking intro to acting. And I was like, oh, am I supposed to? Like he was asking these questions that I was, I didn't know.
Sure.
So I didn't take that as it were, but it was so fun to have. It was so fun to have a theater guy advise on my business classes, and I loved it. And I had great business classes. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I just want to know, okay, so you went in for business.
Yeah.
Did you have this career set in mind?
Oh my God, no. So I went in because I could sing. I wanted to go to Doane College. It was just I knew a couple people, the Swansons, Tara and Tiffany Swanson. They were friends from high school, and April Daly, and I knew a few people that had gone there, and I don't know, and the great choral program, obviously, like one of the best, if not we could argue that it was the best, one of the best in the state,
right?
And so I met Mr. Munson. I got he offered me a generous scholarship. It was wonderful. And so my mom was like, study whatever you want, just get a business degree. She's like, you'll never regret doing it. And so she was literally like, study whatever you want. Cause I didn't know then. And I kind of thought I would be, I don't know, in the beginning, I think I thought I might have been like, in the Met chorus I wasn't a soloist and I didn't care about that. I loved choral singing. I loved kind of ensemble or group or, and I didn't maybe know what the careers were for that. I think because Megan Sutherland became one of my best friends and she was on that path as well. She opened my eyes to like, you could sing with this professional chorus or that professional, because she knew so much more. Because she was a true music, like performance major. And so I think that I thought that, but I liked business classes. I love marketing. There's a few professors whose faces I can see every day, even when I don't remember their names.
Right.
And, so I love that. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I can tell you after 2 years, it was in the summer and I went to talk to Mr. Munson and actually Eric Selk, I said, I think I have to leave Doane. And he goes, good for you. And I don't want to blow out your, I don't want to blow out your speakers.
Yes.
He was like,
good
for you. Like, get out of here. He's like, let me help you pack. Like, where do you want to go? Get the fuck out of Doane. Like,
wow.
And
yeah.
I was like, I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. And Mr. Munson said, I knew you wouldn't be here 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And he was a little more sad, but he was also like, I knew I wouldn't have you for 4 years.
4 years. Interesting.
And yeah, and it was in that summer, and I kind of talked to my mom. I was like, I think I want to go do something else, go do something. And I don't mean bigger in the sense that Doane was lesser or Nebraska was small to me. I had some amazing travel experience prior to Doane.
You did, that's right.
Threw up with people. So I'd kind of seen, I'd been to 15 countries and nearly 200 cities in a year.
Right.
And I loved Doane and I loved the campus. I thought it was the coolest campus life ever. I loved living on campus. Like we had the best. It was so cool. And for both of these people to be like, yeah, get out of here. I was like, oh, okay. Like this is, and so the other funny story I tell is that I knew people in Honolulu, in Denver, and New York City. And so I looked at colleges in those three places.
Okay.
I applied to University of Denver. I applied to, is it the University of Hawaii? No, Hawaii Pacific University. And then I found this small kind of business school in New York City that was fashion based. And so it was creative, but I got a BA in business. And they accepted all my Doane business credits. So I got to transfer there as a junior. It was almost like I didn't waste any time at Doane. My life would be different if I hadn't gone to Doane, but I didn't lose any time, which was awesome. So I still had in 4 years. And so I came to New York and I got merchandising and a business major. and kind of went the retail direction.
Okay.
Then I worked for Lacoste in store design and visual merchandising, which was awesome. It was like a corporate job. And when you grow up in Nebraska, or especially out where we grew up, maybe not in Lincoln or Omaha, but you're like, an office job, what's that?
Right.
And
right. Yes.
I even remember my first day, I went into like the vice president's office for a meeting, and she's like, Patrick, every time you come in here, you need to have a notebook. And I was like, oh, okay. And now I'm literally like, every time we have a meeting, you need to have a notebook.
Oh, yes.
So just like jumping into all the things you don't know. And so, yeah, I mean, so I guess that was that. Then I did some work for Pret A MangerNearly, which was really amazing. I headed up there kind of, I was an executive assistant, but I really focused on philanthropy and events. I had nearly $1 million a year budget to just make employees happy, which was like, who does that, right? And their employees were happy. Like, it was the only job I ever loved while I was leaving it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I was like, nope, I need to go
yes.
do something else. And I was like sad because it was, I loved the job. I skipped to work every day going there, I loved it. I also had amazing experience with Robert Verdi, kind of he had a creative services agency, celebrity styling, home design, and event planning. And that's where I really was like, oh, event planning. Like, he was so good at entertaining. My mom always loved entertaining. So I loved that, setting a table, those kind of things. And he would really let me take over in a sense. He's like, oh, you're good at this. You like this. Like, you figured this out, and I'll just sign off on it or whatever. And so it just came time for me to people were calling me and having little opportunities here and there. And I would use a vacation day to, plan a party or do something. And it got to be where I was like, I either have to start turning these down because I am like totally not focused on my job anymore, or do this. And so I think I saved enough money, like rent, for 3 months. Okay, if nothing came in for 3 months, I can pay my rent. And that was that was 18 years ago.
Okay, I was just gonna ask you. Okay,
yeah.
when was
So
that?
yeah,
2000.
It's 2007. Yeah. Is it 2000?
Yeah.
We're gonna do some math here.
Yes.
2020. Let's say 2026 minus 2007. 19 years ago.
19 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's
haven't looked back.
And I feel like once you were in New York, it was home to you.
It was.
You knew that it was the right place.
I think right away I was like, oh, this is like, college is going to be awesome here. And I think in my mind, right when I came, I was like, oh, I'll do college and then, maybe go to Chicago or Denver or, and I haven't left. 25 years in New York.
Wow.
So,
wow. That's amazing.
I do get that, like, where so many people you hear, and often from where we're from, oh, it's just loud and noisy and this and that. And when I, land at an airport and come through the, the Midtown tunnel and I get into Manhattan or whatever, like, I have a sigh of relief. I'm like I breathe out and I'm like, oh, I'm back home. Like, it feels like I'm back home. So it's a really, so it's like all the kind of hustle and bustle of the city is like Zen to me. That's your thing. Yeah.
I know. It's funny. Like, people will be like, do you miss it? Because when I was, was there for a short time. And it's, for me, I miss it and I don't miss it. Like, there's that, I'm good with like the small town, but I also love going back and having that hustle. But I can see, for you being there as long as you have, that you going through the tunnel and it's like, okay.
It's a sigh of relief. Yeah. And I do. And don't get me wrong. I go back to Nebraska once or twice a year.
Sure.
My aunt has a farm that I love staying on. And it's one of those where, the driveway is half a mile long. So like to go get the mail, it's a mile walk. And it's like, I love that too. And the sunsets in Nebraska, I describe them all the time to people. It's very different, but there's a lot. I'm lucky to have grown up there, I think.
To have that, like, both
Yes.
the
Yep.
both worlds. Yeah. Yeah. I
Every
love
time I
that.
go back to and I visit my cousin, we're always like, we could, and I can't, don't get me wrong, I can't afford it. But I'm like, we could buy, well, because real estate seems like it's free in Nebraska when you
Right.
see New York numbers.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, we could buy that old library and turn it into this, or we could buy that and turn it into that. And it's like, I have this like East Coast mentality now. But then she's like, yeah, but there's like 1,000 people in town. Like that won't support that business.
Right. Yes. Like you
Yeah,
could, but then
I
it's, yeah,
could.
but
Yeah.
yeah, then the people won't be there. But yeah,
Right.
no,
So but it's fun to think about. And, I don't think I'll end up there even in retirement, but I love to be able to go back.
yeah. So I was looking at your bio,
Hmm.
and it says that you're the creative force behind a bi-coastal full-service production company. So I just
Hmm.
wanted, Patrick, for you to like give us like a behind the scenes of what that kind of looks like.
Sure. Fancy editorial words. Um,
Yes.
so we mostly do branded events. So we work with companies, a lot of beauty companies. We've been working with a lot of food and lifestyle brands
Hmm.
recently, to launch products or to bring products to market, or to do a consumer experience for consumers to learn about a product. So we're
Hmm.
not doing as many weddings and milestone birthdays and mitzvahs and things. A lot of event planners only do weddings or only do mitzvahs, and those are awesome. That's a skill set that we have. I think because I worked for Robert Verdi, I really got to know the PR side of it. And
Mm.
so I love that a brand will come to us and say, we're launching this shampoo in 4 months. We want to do a media event and like a pop up in Flatiron. And so
Hmm.
we know how to do that, and we know how to look at an event so that people are going to take photos of it. I mean, when I started in PR, social media wasn't, it was all long lead, New York Times and InStyle magazine. It wasn't influencers.
Hmm.
And so it's really changed the landscape, but it's really fun. So we get to build these really beautiful things and kind of experiences for clients that also have a purpose. They need likes, or
Hmm.
they need photos, or they need recommendations, or they need, they might have, people get manicures and then they, like on site, or, get their hair done or get a glam squad, something like that. And
Hmm.
so we really do focus on kind of the branded events. Most of our clients are PR or ad agencies. We
Hmm.
do work a lot direct with clients as well, like brands. And we do, 3 or 4 weddings, 3 or 4 mitzvahs, and 3 or 4, other parties a year, which we love.
Hmm.
We also do some corporate meetings and stuff, which are actually fun because, it's something different. And who doesn't love like a 750-person banquet? We do some charity dinners, which are really grand. They're grand. They're not
Hmm.
any harder to plan. They're just grander, which is
Sure.
is kind of fun. And then I would say right before COVID, and then obviously a pause, and then now for a few years again, I have a West Coast team. So I
Hmm.
have people in San Diego and in Los Angeles, and we do probably outside of New York the most events in Los Angeles, but we do service nationwide. So we've
Okay.
been in maybe 15 cities just this year for
Oh, wow.
Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Phoenix, LA, San Diego. We're soon going to be in Denver. We're soon going to be in Austin. So between
Nice.
the two coasts and some fabricators that we have kind of scattered in between, we do all of our national transportation. We do all of our national staffing, all of that. So it's been fun. It's wild. Like it's wild.
Well, and I was just listening to you, and maybe this is like a backtrack of it, but like
Yeah.
from now, like where you are now, like
Yeah.
bi-coastal, um, doing all of these things, going to 15 different cities just
Yeah.
this year, where like when you were like, okay, I have my 3 months rent,
Yeah.
from like how did it, and I know you have a office building, you have a building now,
Yeah.
like I mean all of the
Yeah.
things, how did it like grow from, like start,
So I
where
started
did you
out.
start?
The apartment I had in Chelsea in New York City was a 2 bedroom. And for a long time, 3 people lived there when I was in college. And then
Sure.
shortly after, 2 of us lived there. And then shortly after, I was like, oh, this could be my office. And
Mm.
so I was still doing some freelance stuff and kind of that like the 2007 time where, I was still doing a few things that either weren't hard or didn't need a lot of space or whatnot. And so then became the time where I had had an office. I was so excited. I went to the Container store and had an alpha consultation, and they helped me put shelves and a desk in my office. And I thought, Martha Stewart, here I come, because everything had its hook and whatever. And it was awesome. That was a couple of years. And I stored, some vases, and I stored some tools, and I stored, a little bit of everything. And I was doing a lot of smaller events. And let's be real, like 2 or 3 events a month. But when you have no overhead outside of paying my own half of, the rents, it's easier, So that kind of expanded. And then I was kind of ready. I talked to a florist that I was kind of doing an event with, and she was like, "Oh, you need to go talk to Pedro in 120." And I was like, "What does Pedro in 120 mean? Like, what is this?" And she's like, "Here's his number." She's like, "Call him." And I knew she meant, like, I knew it was a studio space. I had no idea. And this really amazing building manager, who now 15 years later, he's still my building manager. So I started off in a small studio, right in the heart of the Flower District when we expanded. And now I have 3/4 of a floor.
Wow.
So it's in the same building, which is fun. But yeah, it's, we have a wood shop and a flower shop and a office and everything. So it's been gradual, from growing employees to growing spaces to, even LA. We have a warehouse in LA, but we don't have, my employees that work out of their homes. It's a work from home job out there. So they don't, I don't have office rent out there, but I do have, facilities rent. But yeah, it's all been very gradual and sometimes calculated and sometimes not.
Right. Oh, I just love it. I love, especially like coming from like Doane, like just going back to like a small college and our growing up and then seeing what you're doing. I love it. So you were talking about, and I know that you did this, but the White House.
Yes.
So we have to dig in just a little bit. So your one-liner was, you once helped decorate the east wing of the White House, and that no longer exists. So tell us about that.
I'm very passionate about this, as you can imagine. 2 stories: how I got it, 3 stories: how I got it, what we did, and my current feelings. So we'll start with that. So how I got it, I'm not kidding. I woke up one morning and I was like, who decorates the White House? Like, how does that, who does that? And you Google and you can apply, like anyone. Even now, even if you want to, whatever.
Right.
You can apply. And at the time, and I'm going to get some of these facts wrong, but they chose about 2 people from every state. Okay. And it was over Thanksgiving week. You had to get yourself there. You had to pay, it's your own accommodations. And it's at the pleasure of the president, is how they say it. So it's like, you're a volunteer, and, we had lunch and whatever. But it was maybe the most magical, important experiences of my life, like to this date. And that was, 10 years ago now. And we went out to a warehouse somewhere. I don't know where it was, Virginia or it was deep in the woods, and it was a warehouse. And they store everything for the White House. They have every dignitary color of red carpet. So like when someone visits the East room, or they have the carpet from the country. They have, it's all the chairs, all the ballroom chairs in different colors, the wood ones and the gold ones and the white one. They have everything, which is so cool. Oh, wow. They even have what I thought was one of the coolest. So we started pre-decorating things, right? Like prepping things to go to the house. So I think we were there 2 or 3 days. They even have fake doorways in the warehouse, so you can build the garland on the doorway. Then all they do is unhook it and hook it back on.
Oh.
So there's replica doorways of most of the doorways in the White House at the warehouse, so that the scale is right.
Oh, that's
it's
brilliant.
Fascinating.
Actually.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
They have a wood shop, because if some baseboard gets bunged up, they have the literal baseboard ready to go, ready to pop in place. Like it's a really cool, it almost looks like a Lowe's or something,
okay.
Warehouse.
Yes.
Then we were on site, and it was really cool. I was assigned the East Wing, which is was magical to me. And we kind of all, the first couple of days, they divide up like, you know, are you good at bows? Are you good at trees? Are you good at wreaths? You know, kind of all the things. There's some more crafty projects and some more kind of engineering projects. And just being there was so cool. And we were kind of finished with one of our sections. It was me and maybe 4 ladies that were kind of paired together. And one of the planners, I do want to credit Brian Raffinelli was the designer. So I didn't design anything. I was just an executor at the time. Brian Raffinelli Events was, you know, amazing. Shout out to them. One of his planners came to me and said, come here, I have a project. I was like, ooh, what? Like, yes, take me. And then a Secret Service person was assigned to us. And she's like, I need help carrying these boxes. And I'm like, okay, all right, officer, like, let's carry these boxes. And we went into the East Wing offices. And so it was past the calligraphy office, past the press room, past the, like, I mean, it's huge. It was huge. It's offices. And then we went into the First Lady's office and we didn't decorate her tree, but we were carrying everything up there. And I could describe that room in detail to this day. And it was just one of those really cool, like, I'm this kid from Nebraska, and now I'm like carrying ornaments to the, you know, Michelle Obama's office.
Right.
It was out of body, really. And it kind of still is when I think about it. And, you know, it was amazing. And there was a reception and she was there, and we, you know, it was everything you imagine and perfect. And now that none of it exists.
Right.
So it's like, what was funny is one of the videos that they used, like some of the news programs were using to show like past things in the East Wing. Like, I'm in one of the photos.
Oh,
one of my friends sent this and she's like, isn't that you? And I was like, oh my God, it is. So like randomly, you know, just when they do like a slideshow or whatever.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, it hurts my heart a little bit that it's not there anymore. And other people, it's such history. And I know that change happens to the White House. It's not an ever present, you know, solid thing, but there's different ways to do it.
Right. Yes.
So,
yes.
But yeah, it was one of the most magical experiences. And because I was one of the few people, because I was in that picture, they asked 10 of us to come back to be like docents. Like, so we had the party, then the next day military families got to tour, which was really cool.
Okay.
And so the next day, like they asked 10 of us back, like everyone else was done. They asked 10 of us back to like be a docent for an area. And so I was the docent for the East Wing entrance, which was really cool. So I don't remember the facts now, but I, you know, got to learn a few things so that when the families came in, I could point out a few things. And that's when that picture was taken that ended up in the news or whatever. Yeah, just a really, really special experience. And people can still do it. You can still apply.
And
you can,
do decorating.
It's a very short application. So it's, you know, it's not like essays and whatever. They do obviously do major background checks, but not
right. That's probably like the biggest thing, I'm guessing. Yeah.
One of the other funny things was when we packed a box at the warehouse, we had to take it to like the Secret Service. They unpacked the whole thing, passed it on to someone else. They repacked the whole thing and then put it into a secure truck.
Oh, wow.
Like every step of the way was Secret Service, it was something obviously I'd never experienced, but I was like, wow, this place is tight.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that was like a whole experience in itself. Like, I feel like you had more than one experience in this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then one of them, I was like, oh, what did he say? Oh, I was like, oh, thank you for, you know, I don't know. What do you do when you talk with the guy who's like walking with you with a machine gun?
Right.
But, you know, it was like me and the girl. I was like, oh, thanks. Like, sorry, you have to go help us like decorate a tree or whatever. And he was like, sir, I'm not worried about what's inside these gates. I'm worried about what's outside these gates. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, right. I forget where we are.
right. Like what you're here for.
Yeah, like, oh, right. Yeah, you're not worried about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of those like rando. But again, like who would experience that or who would know what that is like until you've done something? So
yeah. I love that. Well, and I love that you had that experience and you still like all of these things. I feel like when you're talking about it, you're seeing it all, you're reliving it all.
We couldn't take pictures. We couldn't. And the last day, part of when I got to be a docent, we got to see everything. So I got to go take pictures of everything everyone else did.
Oh,
which was cool.
lovely. Yeah.
But I did have, because we couldn't take pictures and we couldn't use our phones during the day, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a journaler. I took detailed notes. So I have like 10 pages of notes of like everything I saw and experienced. And it was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, kind of going from like, okay, back, we're kind of talking
Yeah.
about a few years back and now
Yes.
today. And we kind of
Today.
touched on this a little bit before we hit record. But how has like rising costs or you not being able to get things, all of that, how
Yeah.
does that impact your design and your approach to projects? And what are like some challenges for your, like really to
It's
your
interesting.
creativity?
Yeah. It's so, no matter what news you watch, you hear about tariffs right now. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want to buy a video game console for my kid, or oh, like my beauty products are made overseas, like something, something very
Mm-hmm.
big and mass and like that everyone can experience not being able to get something at Target or Walmart, right? Because it wasn't imported.
Mm-hmm.
And where it's affecting us and in a big way, our costs have gone up, not because I want them to, but we get our plywood from Canada, we get wire
Mm-hmm.
from China, we get our flowers from South America. Flowers, there's a solid chance, and not like bipartisan comment here, there's a solid chance flower prices are going to double in 2026.
Wow.
Double. And
Okay.
so you never think of like the party planner who makes fun arrangements and like pretty, tablecloths, is you don't think of how many people this affects and to what level it affects. And
Right.
one of the things I was saying, I was looking for black ribbon for a client last week. And I was like, oh, I'll just go across the street and grab it like I do every day. And they're like, oh, we didn't get that this season because the tariffs. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay, you can't be mad at them. Like there's no,
Mm-mm.
so, you pivot and we do what we do. But I think, we have a lot of clients. I had a client ask me the other day, well, what are you doing about it? And I was like, voting, number one. But number
Right.
two, like, of course we're pivoting, we're having other creative ideas, but it affects every level, every level.
Yes.
So,
Yes. That's a
yeah,
funny
that's
question to
kind of,
ask.
yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know. I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
grow a forest and make
Right.
plywood myself.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's such a funny, like, so we do our best, and we certainly don't put profit on those increases, and we do our best to communicate all those things, but it is more expensive. Our delivery is, the gas is more expensive.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's rough. And I am fortunate, I think, that we do work for brands and corporations a lot, because while their budgets have gone down a little bit, they
Mm-hmm.
still, what we do is bring products to market, and they will always have to bring products to market. So whether we
Mm-hmm.
do something
Mm-hmm.
small or large, it's not that they couldn't do without us, but they're still they still have budget for marketing, essentially.
Sure. Yeah, that's
So
probably like
they're just getting less. They're just getting less for that same budget. So
sure. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Has it, I mean, I know you, and I think people who are in this kind of industry, like creatives and theater, and, I feel like you can pivot a little bit. Like you're like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. But does it impact like even just being creative? Like when you're like,
it
I have to worry
does.
about
Well, like
ribbon.
when she's like, "What are you doing about it?" I'm like, "Oh my!" So this is still my problem.
Mm-mm.
you
Yes,
know,
yes.
um, yeah, I'm lucky to be surrounded by creative people on my team, and I do have a
Mm,
creative director now who's amazing, and she takes the load off of me a lot. But it is like you do get fried, and you're like, well, we still want to make money. Like I'm still a business. I still have to pay electricity and and
mm-hmm,
rent and health insurance and all of these
mm-hmm,
things.
mm-hmm,
Um, but yeah, so I do think we reuse a lot. We can cut a square wall into a round wall like very easily. Like of course we're being smart that way. Um, but on some of the bigger stuff, it's just more expensive. And
sure.
so luckily we've had some clients that have said, okay, like it's worth it to us. And some clients have said, unfortunately, we can't do that. And so there is there's concessions. You can do less. They're just
Sure,
gonna,
sure.
they just want the more.
Right, right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So kind of going like we're like kind of like
Yeah.
in the Debbie Downer part of the
Yeah. Yeah.
of the podcast. We'll bring it back up.
Great.
So kind of will you just walk us like through your creative process, like when you get a job
Sure.
from one of your clients, and kind of how does like if you're doing it from scratch, what does the first spark come from?
So someone will usually reach out and I'll give kind of a client who knows us, right? So not a new
Mm,
client, but we'll just call it a new job. And so they'll reach out and they'll say, hey, are you available for, this job on this date? And usually in the first email, they'll give us a bit of an overview. It's a consumer event or it's an editor dinner or it's an influencer trip or it's
mm,
we'll know what it is. And
mm-hmm,
then it's for a brand. So right
mm,
there, there's some rules, which we
mm,
like, right? Use this red, not that red.
sure.
Um, and so we'll have a call with them. We'll kind of find out, what it is they're wanting to do, when. Usually venues are involved. Are you looking, should we transform a white box space and completely transform it? Or do we want to find a venue that really already fits the vibe of the brand? And, that's about half and half.
Mm,
So we'll
mm-hmm.
have a call with them. We'll try to understand their budget. Sometimes, they want $100,000 event for $20,000. So we do try to level set right away. Like, we can do a $20,000 event. Like, here's what you're going to get for that. Here's, and so
Mm,
sometimes we'll offer a couple different budgets with a couple different, levels so that they can see what they want. One, I'm going to say unfortunate, one unfortunate or fortunate sometimes thing is a lot of time it's very much a financial decision from their end, not a creative decision. So
sure.
like, it's really their CFO signing off on it versus their creative director. So it's,
Mm,
there's some things like that. We will then kind of brainstorm as a team right after the call or as quick as we can. And then I have project managers that we divide up kind of the logistics and the creative. And so someone will work on the creative and someone will start on, venue outreach and permitting if we need it. We call it kind of the sexy things and the non-sexy things. Um, and so then we'll provide a deck to them, with venue options and, if it's photo ops or dinners or like all kind of the creative stuff and mostly inspiration. Every now and then we'll do a rendering. We kind of call it like, we don't type this anywhere, but we kind of casually call it with them like a vibe check. Like, hey, are we going in the right direction? And so we turn around something like that. Then, assuming they love it or they really like it with a few comments, we would go into renderings and we would then meet with our shop team internally. Hey, should we build this internally? Should we outsource it? Is it, does it have to be welded? Does it have to be, is it, oh, we already have pedestals. We can repaint them. We can save them some money
mm,
because we have this size pedestal, that sort of thing. So we really start to engineer the setup of the event even before the creative's approved because we need to know what creative is possible, really.
mm, mm-hmm.
So creative usually goes through 2 to 3 rounds. Sometimes, some of the signage will go another round or two, but really the big stuff is signed off on. And then we ideally love 3 weeks to build something, but
Mm.
2 weeks sometimes is what it ends up. And all that depends too. Is it New York? Is it going to multi-cities? Is it, kind of the logistics going there? But yeah, we have a few rounds of creative with them. Depending on what the event is, sometimes there's a standing weekly call, and sometimes we can plan it with, one version of a deck and, execute. So really depends on the complexity.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I'm on watching you on Instagram. I love your Instagram. I can
Yes.
because it does, we're at that day and age where we want to see the behind the scenes. And that as a
Right.
photographer, that's always my thing where I know people like to see the final result, but really
Yeah.
right now people want to know how it
How you did it.
all happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love your Instagram showing all of that. But I'm not, we're not hearing all of this. Like, I think,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, like you said, like you're doing events and you're making things pretty and
Like you painted this wall pink. Yeah.
yes, yes. But
Yeah.
all of these things that happened even
What we don't talk
like,
about is that we had to make that wall in 3 parts, not 2 parts, because of the elevator it had to go in.
oh wow.
Like if we
Yeah.
can make a one piece wall, great. But sometimes it's 2 or 3. we had to make what normally would have been a 3-piece wall into 9 pieces a few weeks ago just because of the elevator.
Elevator.
So then it's seaming on site, then it's this, so yes, so
Yes.
there's all the kind of, again, non-sexy things are the reasons why we build something the way we do.
Sure. I love that you call it the sexy and the non-sexy.
Yeah. I call it the fun and the non-fun stuff, but then that's as much part of it as like, I also love a budget. I love how are we going to build this? I love, how we, sometimes also it's setup time. Like if we have a whole day of setup, we have more time to screw walls together. But if we have 1 hour to set up, we really have to bring that wall in and like plop it into place. So, or, I'm saying wall, but whatever the thing
whatever
is.
it is. Sure.
Yeah.
And you just got to know what you're doing and you don't have time to be like, well, should it? Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing all of that. And I think people who are in the industry, obviously they're going to know, but then there's people that even like me, I'm not even thinking of that. Like, oh yeah. The elevator and all of, or even the door or whatever that
you would laugh. Like, we're like, oh my God, you guys, there's a freight elevator. Or we're like, oh my God, it's on ground level.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we get irrationally excited if an event is on ground level because it's easier, it's like, and the client doesn't care. The client shows up at 3 p.m. and wants the same result. So it's like, but it makes our lives easier. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that you guys probably are. It's just like, yes.
Yeah. We're like, there's a huge elevator and it's non-union.
Woohoo!
Some elevators are union, so they have hours. Every building has different rules and whatnot. So we get excited about the most random things.
Well, and again, things that, the people who are going and attending the event they're just like, ooh, we're going to get our photo taken here.
Right. Yeah.
Post it all over. So I was talking about your Instagram. Tell us like how people can follow you, find you, all of that good stuff.
Yes. My Instagram is at PJCPROD for Patrick J. Clayton Productions. So PJC Prod. And that is also all of our others. So that's our Instagram, our website. I believe we have a TikTok. All the things. We actually have an amazing Pinterest page. So they're all PJC Prod.
Okay.
So yeah, give us a follow as well.
Yeah.
You'll see some amazing photography on it, which I know, Kate, you appreciate.
I do. And I kind of obsess over like any of your photographers. Like I'm like, okay, who's this? I got to follow them. Yeah. I love it. So
I've learned a lot about what I like and what I don't like with photography. Yeah.
And it's funny because you probably, when you first were with that, it wasn't a thing. And then you're like, oh.
No. Robert Verdi, when he first, and even if it's on your phone camera or whatever, Robert Verdi said his biggest regret with like planning parties, he's like, I never took time to take photos. And he's like, I don't have a lot of documentation of the stuff we did. And so now that's one of my most important things. And I have an amazing marketing manager who oversees social media, and we have some interns that can kind of come and do, our time lapses and things like that. And they take amazing content as well. And then for our bigger events, or for many of our events, or as many as possible, I have a few photographers that I work with that I love, and for different reasons, for, if it's only atmosphere shots, there's one that he's the greatest. And, if it's parties with people, if it's kind of different scenarios, you kind of have different photographers.
Right. Cause we all have our specialty. Like, and
sure.
So I love that you see that and like, okay, this is what I want for this event, or
yeah. Okay. And with some of them too, I can be like, no, that's a heinous photo. Like, so I try to check myself because they're doing amazing work, but also when you really get to know somebody, you can have a back and forth that's very honest and everyone is happy. I also, both truly because of you, I'm not just saying that even because I'm on this, but with boundaries and fees and what people charge and discounts and these kind of things, is like, I never take advantage of a photographer. I really try that. And that's something I know that when you were starting out your business, you're like, no, here's my fees. Like, this is how much I charge for either, I don't know, per session or per photo and it's probably changed, whatever, but and now and then I'll ask for a discount, or, hey, this is what I have for this. Do you want to do it? Giving
Sure.
someone an out. And sometimes they do, and that's wonderful. And in those cases in particular, I'm extra careful not to have feedback. Do you know what I mean? And I've hired them because I know I love their photos, but if I know they're giving me this deep discount, or I can snag them for an hour for 10 atmosphere shots, I'm going to certainly be less picky, and I try to be as prepared as possible for them. I never, if a photographer comes to take atmosphere shots at 3 and we're not ready till 3:30, I feel bad about that. So it's a timing thing. We're like, photos at 3:30. It really is,
Right.
And then I do have one photographer. He's like, there's a speck on that carpet and it's like 30 feet away. And I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, take the photo. But he keeps us real,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So it's a really good, I think those relationships are amazing. I've learned that I love horizontal photos. And I don't know if that's like an internal backlash to stories, stories and reels being horizontal, vertical. But I do love it. I've learned about myself that I just love a horizontal photo, or square, but horizontal. I think you can do more with them for different purposes.
Yes, and that's really
but
great.
You're
to
doing
know.
portraits, so that's different. Like, I'm doing mostly rooms and atmospheres, which I guess for a family is horizontal, but for a single person, definitely not always. So
right. Well, yeah. And it's that thing too of what what you want. As a photographer, if I'm working for someone, like something like this, like where I'm doing some stuff for Nebraska Wesleyan, and for their like branding, like they're doing a whole new branding. And the agency they're working for, I was like, okay, I need, like, what do you want? Because I can photograph stuff, but what is it that I need? And I want you to tell me, like, it's not hurting my feelings, because I want
photographers love a shot list. Or sometimes, like, if I'm like setting up the event, but then I have to go before the photographer arrives, because my whole team is like, you need to walk the photographer around, because they know that if they take bad photos, that it's like, I'll be mad. So I'll sometimes with my phone be like, I want this angle, this angle, this angle, and like take a crappy quick photo, but they know kind of like where I'm standing in the perspective, and they always appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I get what I want. It's win-win kind of.
It is. Yes.
When it's that technical. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot more nuance, I think, when no, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of nuance when you're taking not people photos, but you're also dealing with a personality.
Well, right. Yes. Well, and there is a creative to take non-people, and there is a creative for people. Like, I really am I'm not very good when it doesn't really have anyone in it. Like, I'm a person. Like, I love when there's like, it's a cool, amazing backdrop, and in my head, if I'm somewhere and I'll be like, oh my gosh, if I had a person in this outfit and this doing this and in this lighting, that's where my brain goes. Where another photographer, they're like, do not give me a person, they're gonna. And when I see something like that and they've lit it well, or they're the perspective of it, it's always fun to just see that.
And there's so many different photographers for so many different things, and certain brands, or this one guy, he knows how I like atmosphere shots taken. So the longer we work together, the less back and forth there is, or it's really nice. And a lot of brands say, nope, we have our photographer coming, and they take the photos exactly how that brand wants them. Because sometimes people will share their photos with us, and then we're able to post and credit. But I'm like, oh yes, like they nailed the vibe of this event. And nice. I might have photographed it differently, to be totally honest. And I'm like so appreciative that brand knew that this photographer,
this is who they work with, and they know this is what they're going to get.
I'm always more hesitant, because I'm like, well, we haven't worked with them, so I can't guarantee,
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're like, so pleasantly surprised.
Yes. So there's been a few in the past couple months where I loved how they turned out, even though I had zero control over it.
Yeah. Well, that's always kind of nice.
Yeah. I'm a control freak, if people haven't guessed that already.
Yeah. So I want to go into like a little. So I have two like segments that I want to go into
Yeah,
before we like totally wrap up.
sure.
One is kind of a rapid fire. I'm just gonna like
Okay.
throw out a
Uh-oh.
few questions and just whatever
Okay.
comes to mind. Um, so this might be a hard one for you, but florals, event planning, or set building, which feels more like home to you and why?
Event planning. Because I think I grew up, my grandma on the Clayton side was very formal, and we had, the 9 pieces of silverware, like when I was 6 at Christmas dinner, and like that's how it was. And my grandma Olson, it was like potluck, and it was like, get in there if you want to eat. It was like, couldn't be more opposite. And I loved both of them. And so the way the one had the plastic tablecloth and the clips on the picnic table, and then the way she had literal gold silverware. Um, I think just the planning and the kind of, I'm going to loop a little bit of the creative decisions in with that too. I think like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
setting a table is my favorite thing to do.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So then, what would be your favorite tool, material, or piece of gear you cannot survive on like a production day? You can survive
Well,
without.
DeWalt tools are my go-to.
Okay.
On production day, decal squeegee, like a decal scraper, a laser
Mm.
level, a DeWalt drill. We use those so much. A really good. We spend good money on utility knives. I
Mm.
like. It's amazing how good a good box cutter is, and amazing how bad a bad box cutter is.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, a few of those. And lighting. I always think that we have a lot of our own equipment for small to medium events. We can fully light it internally, and then we have some great vendors. But just a little glow on a product or something just makes it go from like great to stunning. So
Mm. Mm.
some carefully placed lighting, I think, is always a good
Yeah.
finishing touch.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, what would be your dream location anywhere in the world that you would like to produce an event?
Paris.
Mm.
And it's almost happened 3 times.
Really?
Yes, we've either bid on something or something didn't go through. Like, and people that I trust, and not just like random calls that didn't go through. But I love Paris. I haven't planned an event there. We'd be good at it. I know exactly where I'd get everything because I've thought about it so much. Um, and we've done international. We've done Mexico and Canada and Bermuda, and I actually did a wedding in Switzerland, which was
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
But I love Paris, and so to do something small or large there, I would love it.
Love it. Okay, and if your creative style were a movie genre, what would it be?
Um, Dramedy. I don't know. Is that like a fake answer? We're very high low, so I'm very like I always joke like Old Navy jeans and a designer handbag. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
very like we love a high low. We love kind of like a casual formal mix. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like an effortless, and so I guess a movie genre. I mean, I'm certainly not horror. I'm certainly not just comedy. I'm certainly, maybe it's a movie musical, maybe movie musical or
Mm.
like dramedy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it should be fun and happy, but it can still be very well done and very,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well, and you bringing the
perfect.
light, like you talking about the
Yes.
light, to me, that is that like
Yes.
that you bringing the drama, like to it.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Moody. Moody is a great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a segment that I call it you're stepping into the photo confession booth. But
Hmm.
I feel like, well, since you're an event planner, maybe we're going to step into the event confession booth. Patrick, what's like one hilarious, unexpected, chaotic blooper from an event or any of this that happened? It could be happened before, during, after. Anything you want to confess?
One. It was blooper to say the least. And this was now. I was working out of my house, so this was probably 13 or 14 years ago, but it's a good one. I was preparing for like an 1,100 person dinner. at Chelsea Piers, which is a huge, like
Mm.
it was like 89 tables or something, and a stage backdrop and entrance, and so flower heavy, but decor and all the things. And I was still doing it out of my house. So I had a way to like push my couch up against the wall and to like literally make like a Veruca salt factory like in my living room. And so it was all happening. And then I get a call about like 9 a.m. and the client's like, well, where are you? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, where are you? She's like, the tables just got here. I wanted to let you know or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, the event's today. I thought this for like the whole planning time, like the very first time I wrote down the date, it was one of those where I wrote like Tuesday, the blah, blah, blah. And it was Wednesday or whatever, but I got to like, so the next day I was planning on loading in at 7 a.m. and being ready by 4. And it was already like 10 or 10:30. I like called 2 or 3 friends. I'm like, you have to go home sick right now and come over. Like it was like DEFCON 1. Luckily, I had the arrangement. Like I had everything ready. I was, because I'd worked on it all weekend or whatever. But I called my delivery guy. I called like the linen people. And I was like, this event is today. And we were ready by 4.
Wow.
But,
oh my
God. I mean, that's probably when I started going bald. Like it was, and I couldn't even pretend to the client. Because they were like, where are you? You know what I mean? And so I was like, I thought this was tomorrow. I'll be there within the hour and we will be ready at 4. And like, they knew me. We had a trust, whatever. So like, thankfully she didn't just yell at me for 10 minutes. She should have, but like, I was like, I'll be ready by 4. Like, don't, whatever. And so, and it was beautiful. One of those pictures is still on my website if people figure it out.
Well, yeah. Wow.
So that was like, I guess, blooper to say the least.
Yeah. And like, I feel like maybe, if we have 9 lives like a cat, you lost a few that day.
And I mean, we've had things like we get to a job in the middle of the Christmas tree doesn't work. Like, I don't want to say par for the course because you freak out and I was angry and whatever, but like you can fix that much easier than you can fix 90 tables of centerpieces. Like it's a different level of stress.
Yes. Did you ever then like afterwards, were you just like checking all of your like events? Like I would be constantly...
after like for future events, yes. Like yeah. Like, I wanted that day to be over so bad. And they hired, I worked for them several more years. It was not that wasn't thank goodness. They were amazing.
Well, but you were ready by 4. You were ready by 4.
I was ready by 4.
They were like, yeah, it all worked out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a good confession.
Yeah. Luckily it was long. Like I probably didn't tell that story for like 10 years.
Oh, I'm sure. I
mean, like we knew about it, but I would never have admitted that to anyone. And now, there's so many level checks of that now, just in how from the date being on the presentation to the, you know what I mean? To like how I even invoice, like a job is coded based on the date. So like that just wouldn't happen even if a date changes. So it's, luckily that's impossible nowadays. But back when it was just me and like Microsoft Word,
Right. Yes. Yeah. So if something like that ever happens to someone and you feel like, holy shit, I just fucked up and I'm gonna you have
to own it.
Yes.
And you can't go cry. You have to like just compartmentalize the emotion and just get to work. Yeah.
And then maybe you need to cry later when it's
cry
over
later.
with.
Like but like get it done. You owe the client, you're a hard worker, like you almost can't dwell on how it happened. You just have to fix the problem and then, I still tell that a lot to my employees. Like if something is unexpected or goes wrong, like fix it. Don't get in your head about it right now. Make it right. Then let's chat about it later. You know what I mean? Right. It's not because it could easily switch your whole mindset to like then have a bad day. And like and I know our generation is probably a little bit better at compartmentalizing. But you just have to be like, push those emotions down and
Yes.
fix it, and then have emotions later.
Right, right. Yeah. I feel like I have that with like because of being a stage manager prior
Yeah.
life. Like I'm like, how do we fix this? Like
Yeah, fix
I
it
go,
first.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's pivot and yeah, but and then I
Yeah,
normally
yeah, stage managers have to make very fast decisions.
yes, yes. So I think I do that in like any, even like if I'm on location and my light isn't working, I don't tell the client like, or I might
Right.
say like, oh, this one's not working. We're doing this and I'm going to change the
Yeah.
lens and that's going to help, like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't make it like, this isn't,
You don't like freak out outwardly. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, oh my gosh, this was so fun.
This was so great. It's so good to see your face and to hear your voice and to chat about the industry.
Yes, same, same. I was gonna say, like, when I was looking at season 2 and like, okay, what guests would I want? I was like, Patrick, Patrick.
Oh, I love that.
So thank you again for
I
taking
love all of us
time.
Nebraska kids doing amazing things.
I know, I know. It's so fun. And just to see like, and I feel like we're still like, kids that we just
Yeah,
graduated a
yeah,
few
same.
years
Like I
ago.
feel like we're like gonna go have lunch at the cafeteria together
Yeah, yeah.
and like scan our card. Like it's so
Yes,
true.
yes.
Yeah. I wish I could.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you again,
Thank
and
you.
everybody go follow on all the socials.
Amazing. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. That was a conversation I'm still thinking about. And one thing Patrick said, it really stuck with me. Fix the problem first, then process the emotions. Whether you're an event planner, photographer, creative director, or business owner, that mindset alone is worth bookmarking. This episode is such a reminder that behind every polished, photo worthy experience is a ton of planning, engineering, communication, and calm decision making, especially when things don't just go as planned. It's also a powerful look at how systems, transparency, and creative flexibility allow businesses to keep going, even when the cost rises and challenges stack up. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who works behind the scenes making big ideas happen. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are because we're continuing to have honest conversations about creativity, business, and what it really takes to build something sustainable. As always, Shutter Squad, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time, right back here on The One Behind the Lens.
Shut up.